Hey everyone, thank you for the hardy few here to attend the at the end of the day after dinner session. Right, tough slot, but I'm so privileged to be here. I've been a member of this forum for 15 plus years or so. It's been so enriching for me in my own growth and my own journey and expanding my own consciousness about how to be I think just a good human being first off, and then an effective leader. More specifically, um, during COVID, I co-founded a new company called Leading Human with Sarah Harper, who's an executive coach here in New Jersey, and we collaborated trying to find a new way to deliver training in a meaningful way. And when we're looking at the challenges that organization, are we going to focus on this challenge? Are we going to focus on engagement? Are we going to focus on this particular issue? High turnover in organizations. What we realized is most of the ills of an organization come, if you boil it really down to, it's a lack of connection, human connection. And it begins with the individual, the leader. Are they connected with self awareness? Are they connected to their own strengths, weaknesses? Are they at least willing to look at some blind spots? Are they curious about their own growth and development? So there's that connection. That leader as well, do they have the ability, the skill set to connect with another human being on their team? Can they do that authentically in a way where that person feels valued? If they don't, there's high turnover in an organization, there's a lack of engagement, and as we know, based on the Gallup study 20 or so years ago, right, when engagement is low, all the measures of business success are low. And yet, with all the research, all the constant monitoring, the testing, there was a slight bump, but after COVID, boom, we're back down to where we started. So we haven't really moved the needle for all the time, effort, resources expended on increasing engagement. So that's a problem. High turnover, that's a problem. All stemming from this lack of connection. Now, obviously, as a member of a team, if you don't feel connected or valued, or you don't have that safe environment to operate in, lack of trust, I'm not going to hand off properly with the assignments. I don't trust you're going to deliver to that. So if I don't trust, if I don't have connection, trust, poor communication within the team, low productivity, probably high turnover, low engagement. Team to team, cross functionally, same thing, right? We're back into the siloed organizations that we've all been fighting to break down those walls, and those people aren't connected. And then as an individual, do I feel as a member of this team, connected to the members of the team? Do I feel connected to the mission of the team and or the greater mission of the organization? We talked a lot today in the earlier sessions about purpose. If we want to create meaningful change, we need to be connected to that purpose. But if I feel lost, it's not clear to me, I have that lack of connection, then why stay here? Maybe there's another $10,000 or $15,000 on the table at that organization over there, and I can make the jump, right? Right. So our focus at Leading Human is really how do we enable the greater connections between human beings so that we can then move all of those markers of engagement and a sense of well-being. And while I'm on that topic of well-being, a lack of connection in organizations and in our society is what is leading to this groundswell of mental distress, right? The mental health issues that we're facing in organizations and culturally are on the rise, and I again theorize that it comes from this lack of human connection. We for eons we grew up in tribes, connected, interdependent, collaborating for our survival, and we've broken that linkage between each other. And I feel, deep in my heart, my rest of my life's work will be towards reestablishing connections between human beings. So with that, I have a couple of activities for you, all in the theme of building greater connections. And I wanted to kind of package these, and we're going to add them to the learning tree as a resource if you're a facilitator running a group. That please, whatever I have, I want to give away to you to help you and your organizations build greater connections out there too. Let's if you're going to ripple something in the world, create those little ripples. Let's ripple something worth rippling, something valuable. So to do this, um, my expertise is in experiential learning. Yeah, people are like, oh no, here it comes. Here it comes. I know these guys. I've done this stuff before. Um, I am hired to take by organizations to take their people from what is comfortable to where? To the uncomfortable. Now, would it be appropriate if I pulled people over there? I wouldn't have a successful career if I made people to go here. But I'm gonna invite you to go to a place that might be a little uncomfortable, to do a little something that I'm just gonna bring you to the edge. It'll be your choice to say, okay, I'm going all in with this guy. We're gonna give it a shot, see how it goes. And I promise you, no one will be set up for an embarrassing moment. It'll all be appropriate. We're gonna have a lot of laughs doing that. Y'all willing to do that? Say aye. Aye. Terrific. Any nays? Okay, all the ayes have it. Terrific. And so with that, I'm going to ask you all to stand up, please, and I want to make sure everybody on the screen can see it. Maybe we can we're a small enough group, maybe we could form a circle right here. So we're in a university academic environment. So I think I should take you through like in steps, in a sequence, like 101, 102, right? Or 202, how's it go? It's been a long time. 101. Yeah, 101. 200 level. 200, yeah, that's it, yeah. 100 level, 200. So we're going to start off like that.
Let's stay away from 500 level.
No. I know this group. We're not going near there. Okay. So what I like you to do is take your hands like this. Shake it out, shake it out. Maybe your whole body and your legs and everything else. We had dinner there, full of sugar, carbohydrates. Now slap your hands together and create a wiggle waggle, which is take your two middle fingers and look, you create a wiggle waggle. Here we go. Slap your hands together. Right? Wiggle waggle. Oh, that was a good. I saw how you did that. That was okay. Let's do it again. It's important to have coaches in your life when you struggle with certain things. Bring your fingers together, and let's take your right middle finger to the back side of your left middle finger. Wait, my right middle finger to the back side of my left middle finger. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to take this right. I'm going to keep my left hand where it is. And I'm just going to rotate that hand like that. So that's, 100 level. But this is a high performing organization. I could tell, right? You're leaders. So what I want you to do is to turn to your partner next to you. Put your hands up like this. And we're going to figure it out right? Slap your hands together. Let your fingers cross. And look at, now you got a paired wiggle waggle. See that, everyone? A paired wiggle waggle?
That was easier.
That was easier. See? Because why? We're going to go deep on this. Why was it easier? Okay. Now listen. Because the forum is looking for a global impact, we need to be able to reach out. Put your hands out to the side. Reach out. Reach out. Now cross your middle fingers. And we're going to create a team global wiggle waggle. What can we take away from this little exercise, this little metaphor of self, small group, large group, and building connections? Well, sometimes as an individual contributor in an organization, it just seems I'm going to just do it myself because it's easier than to train and develop somebody else to do it, right? So the default could be there, but then as the organization scales, the workload scales, you don't have the bandwidth to do it. So you have to delegate. And it's a small example of collaboration, the power of collaboration, the importance of diversity in a group as well. And often when I facilitate this, and this is just a little exercise that you guys can have, take with you to group, right? It may not always be appropriate, with the C-suite. Okay, we're going to do a wiggle. I pulled it off, but you have to tread carefully. So the I lost my train of thought there.
Thinking about that executive.
It was.
So I'll insert the microphone so that we can pass it when people are
Oh,
sharing.
thank you. Great idea. Oh, the idea was sometimes when I go to help someone, they're like this. They're because they don't want to fail. They don't want to be the one who doesn't do it. They're like, I go, okay, relax, relax. It's just the fingers are and they're stuck like this. Relax. We're talking a wiggle waggle, right? We're not like hand on a nuclear button. You could just go, and when you get them to relax, when you get them away from worrying about the performance of it, and just be having a connection, and just look, it becomes so much easier. So often when we're doing something new and something we haven't experienced before, and we're in a group and other people might see our performance, we get really tense. And when you're in your head, you're dead. Get back into your body, which was a message that we'd heard all throughout the day. Just relax, take a deep belly breath, yogic breath. Oh, and then you can wiggle waggle to your heart's delight. All right, so great job, everyone. Now this next activity, that's a little takeaway gift for you. This is activities as well, and I'll have it written up, and we can add it to the tree as well. So this is the activity. I'm going to ask a question. You're going with a partner. You're going to answer that question to each other. There's a few rules. You don't have to remember the answers. You're not going to be quizzed at the end of the day. Right? So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to think about being in your, let's say this is the comfort zone for me as a human being. I'm in the center of my comfort zone. Most of these questions are going to be within my comfort zone. What's your favorite junk food? What's your favorite health food? Those are a couple of questions I'll ask. But every once in a while, you get a question that'll be right here at the edge of your comfort zone. Like, I hadn't really thought of that before. And I'm sharing this information with somebody who, although we know each other, but I may not know as well, right? And,
Know what I might respond.
right now, I'm outside my comfort zone. Thank you. So, but it won't be a question that's way out here outside your comfort zone, right? It might for some of you it will be, some of you it won't be. Doesn't really matter. You don't need to remember the person's answer. I ask you to be authentic in your answer. So I grew up in a tough town, a manufacturing town. The the only kid in the neighborhood that had parents that were immigrants, right? I'm first generation American. And how I was able to survive was through humor. Now, most of you haven't seen that yet. I'm going to surprise you, but it's coming. And so that was my mask, right? And so for the large part of my early life, junior high school in particular, high school, I always had this mask. And then I got into my early 20s, and I didn't really have authentic relationships because I didn't ever take that mask down, right? That was vulnerability and danger to me when I was younger, right? And so I realized through work, some self-awareness, that it was time I take that down so I can have a really authentic connection. And so if you are like me or you have some other defense, I just ask that you trust this room and honor each other and just be willing to put whatever the mask is that has helped you get through, put it to the side and just answer the questions authentically. And the last piece or rule is to be specific in your communication. This is also part of a communication leadership curriculum that I do. And so how does that show up? I'm going to ask you, it'll be the first question I ask, what's your favorite junk food? And some people say pizza, right? That's not a good enough answer. You have to say, it's the DiGiorno meat festival pizza with the cheese that they actually insert into the rim of the crust pizza, right? So I'm going to be very specific in the pizza. You can't say potato chips, because is it Lay's potato chips? Is it Ruffle potatoes? Is it jalapeno and mango flavored potato chips? We have to make sure that we are specific in our answers. Okay? So, and we're just going to pick people at random, and if we have an odd number, we'll have a triad. We'll do it like that. So pick a partner. Say hello, partner. How are you? Greet your partner. Find somebody, talk to them, move around the room. It's fine. You don't have to stay in that circle anymore. Move around the room. Yeah, just it doesn't matter. I'm gonna mix the room up. Right. Good. Okay. So here's your first question. And I'll put my hands up like this when I feel like pretty much the answer has been delivered, and then we're gonna go on to the next question, and we're just gonna go several rounds like this. Okay. So your first question is, what's your favorite junk food? You don't have to remember. Be authentic and be specific in your communication. Go ahead. What's your favorite junk food? Did both of you go? Did you both go? All right. So now it's a harder question for some of us. It's a much harder question. What's your favorite health food? What's your favorite health food? You can't say fruit. You have to say mangoes or kiwis. Be specific. What's your favorite health food? Brussels sprouts are always at the top of the list. All right, everyone. Next question. You guys are doing great. You got the idea now, right? We're going back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. Here's your next question. If you could fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool with anything, what would it be? And why would you want that in your pool? Did anybody, first of all, anybody say money?
Gold coins. I'm sorry.
Money. Anybody say money? You said gemstones. Well, I just want to say, did anybody say money?
No.
No, you said
Gold coins.
gold coins. Okay. In the thing. So this is worth a pause, right? Oftentimes when I do this, and usually it's a much larger group, somebody says money. And what was one of the rules I asked for you? Be specific in your communication. Because let's say I work for you. This is kind of a leadership thing you could take. If I work for you and you say, hey, fill my pool with money, and I, on a hot day like today, wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow filled your pool with copper pennies, would you be satisfied with my work? Not so much, right? No, right? Because what were you really wanting? Wealth, right? And so it could be gemstones, it could be gold coins, it could be NVIDIA stock certificates, right? Because you can get a lot of those in the swimming pool, right? We really wanted wealth, and it's really the freedom that you assume that wealth comes from, right? But if you communicate to your organization, this is your aspiration, but you use the words of money, it could be interpreted as copper pennies. And then you go, no, Rich, you big dummy, you. I wanted, gold coins, Cougarans, right? So now I got to go empty all those pennies out and then fill it up with the acquire and then fill up the pool again with the gold coins.
You might not get paid for that day before.
Yeah, because I messed up. Well, we'd have something to talk about, I'm telling you. Yeah. But this is what happens in organizations. Because of poor communication, work has to get redone and redone and redone, and it creates a lot of stress. And how do I feel? That I didn't meet my boss's needs, but you didn't really say exactly what you wanted, and then we do this dance over and over again. So one of the most fundamental things is before you make a communication is to think, how will it be interpreted at the other end, and how can I be as specific as I can to make sure we're on the same page? Now quickly, find the new partner. Say, hello, how are you? Is this your first form? No, I've been coming a long time. Right? Make sure you mix it up. All right. Here we go. Yeah, switch it up.
We're back together again.
No, it's very easy to mix it up. All good. Terrific. Your next question is, if you could have a superpower, one superpower, what would it be and why? Now we have Marvel and the other group, I forget who they are, Marvel and DC, thank you so much. We know Batman, we know his powers, we know Superman's powers, right? Wonder Woman's powers, all that kind of, we know pretty much culturally those superpowers. But maybe there's a superpower that you would like that is not represented typically in these Marvel things. Maybe it's the ability to change the past. Maybe it's the ability to predict the future. Maybe it's the ability to heal. Whatever it is for you, No judgments here. Maybe you could just take all your friends that were just in the swimming pool and fly them to the rim of the Grand Canyon and share that experience with them. It could be a superpower, right? So whatever your superpower is, what would it be, and how would you deploy that superpower? What would be the superpower that you want? Only one. And how would you want it? Why would you want it? How would you deploy it? With that. All right. Good. So probably heard some interesting superpowers. Excellent. Now here's something like just on a real day-to-day thing. What would you love to do? You know, if you didn't have to worry about earning an income or this or that, what's a personal passion for you? Now I know Steve and I share a passion of skiing. And man, if I had my druthers, I would like to have the entire winters off and be able to go to where I want to go and just ski deep powder. Not icy, scratchy New England stuff. I'm talking deep powder. It's just a euphoric feeling. So that would be something that I'd like to do. But maybe it's gardening, or maybe it's reading, or maybe it's spending time with grandkids, or travel, or crafts, painting, arts, something like that. So turn your partner, share with it, like, man, my life stream would be if I could maybe get paid for this or didn't have any financial concerns, I would love to do, what would it be? What are you passionate about? What do you love to do in your spare time that is nurturing to your soul, nurturing to your being? I have another question for you. If you could have dinner with any one person from the past, from history, no longer with us today, from the current situation, right? Who's the girl, the big singer right now? Taylor Swift. If you want to have dinner with Taylor Swift, you'd have access to Taylor Swift. Or somebody from the future, someone who's not here yet, hasn't been born yet. And you think, well, if they're not born yet, how do I know I want to have dinner with them? Maybe it's your great, 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 great grandchild or daughter, and you could sit and have dinner with them, and you can explain to them what happens in November, or something, something, how tough it was here in 2024, how high inflation was, or whatever the drama is that you can explain to them. They can get a window into the history of what their ancestor lived through. So one person though, from the entire spectrum of time, who would that person be, and why would you select that human being? I mean, Attila the Hun, always fun at dinner, you know, or a Gandhi, or a Jesus, or a Martin Luther King, whoever it would be. Why would you want to sit and have that conversation, intimate conversation with that one person? And go. This can also be a challenge when you're face to face, looking someone in the eyes, because it's a stretch near to the edge of many people's comfort zone. Share with them your greatest personal strength. And now, since we have different kinds of we're not all from one organization. Maybe it's your personal strength that you bring to your company as a professional, or maybe it's the greatest strength that you bring to your family. Right? But I want you to identify, oftentimes we have a hard time owning our own greatness in a particular area, right? And that's a stretch outside of what we're asking you to do. So I just ask you to play along with me. Think about, for some people, it's a stretch to come up with one great strength. But I have come across people in my career that the stretch is to limit it to the one great thing about them, So, so if that's you, just try to hang in there with me and just back it down. Just try to carve it down to that one great thing about you. Okay, so with that, go ahead and share the one great strength, either personally or professionally. So, not too bad. You were able to unload your strength with someone without the sky falling down. It all worked out. Wonderful. This is a question that I love to ask people. What is the origin of your name? Now, hold on a second, because not everybody may know that. So, my name is Richard Kuepper, Kuepper. P-P-E-R. So as I mentioned, I'm first generation American. My dad came from Germany, but it was K-U umlaut, those two dots over the U, P-P-E-R. And then when you got here, well, we can't type that thing. So we'll take those dots out and we'll put an E in there. And no one could ever find me in the white pages. If anybody remembers the white pages, no one could ever find me. Rich Cooper, I can't find him anywhere. And so my dad's name was Kurt, K-U-R-T, Cooper, Kurt Cooper. I thought that's not a great name. And I grew up in a neighborhood, Irish, Italians, and most of the oldest sons were named after their father, Tony Jr., Anthony, Tony, something like that, right? But I didn't get Kurt, I got Richard. And so I was like, why didn't I get Kurt? Kurt Cooper sounds cooler than Richie Cooper, which is how I grew up, right? Hey, it took me years of therapy to get over that, and don't start it again. And so I asked my dad, hey, I lost my dad at 20, but luckily in this meantime, I was able to ask him, how come you call me Richard and not Kurt? Well, my dad was born in Germany out of wedlock. In those days, his mom went away for the summer and put him in foster care. And then went back, and she was from a very affluent German family. We owned a restaurant on the Rhine River and, went to finishing school. And so that just wasn't part of that, right? But, and he was in a home that had two daughters and they wanted a baby brother. And so in comes Kurt, right? Baby brother. They're happy, but very poor Germans at the time, but a ton of love in the house, right? And so when my dad was about 11 or 12 years old, a photo falls of him out of the wallet because the mother would visit from time to time, had current pictures of him. And my dad's grandfather saw this photo. Who's this kid? Well, then mom comes clean and says, well, I had this kid out of wedlock. And he insisted if I have a grandson, he's going to grow up under my roof. So she plucks my dad in a loving family, the only family he knows, to go and live, in this very fancy estate on the Rhine River where everybody was working on a business, tremendously affluent, no love. So to honor that man, whose name was Richard, the guy yeah, it's beautiful, right? I have this story, right? The guy who raised him like his own son, right? That's my name. So I have this name, right? I'm so blessed to have the story, right? And I'm grateful to be able to share that with you, right? Because I lost my dad at 20, and so I lost a lot of history, but I got that, right? So maybe you have a story, or maybe you don't know. Maybe you were adopted. You don't know your backstory at all, and you've always wanted a really great story. So guess what? Tonight is the night you get to create an awesome backstory of how you got your name, okay? And so if you have it, great. If you want to make it up, great. Descendant of royalty, whatever your fantasy wants to be. This is where I can say you can be a little inauthentic in your communication and just create a story that will support you in being the best of that you can be. So with that, turn to your partner and say, hey, this is the origin of my story. All right, everyone. Hey, you've done so good. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I do have one question to ask. This will be the final question. And then if you want to we can do a quick debrief. That's why I brought some chairs around here. Here's your final question. It is probably the most important question you can ask yourself daily. What are you most grateful for in your life today? What are you most grateful for in your life today? Now, I'm always facilitating 97% of the time to adults. And if I'm in front of adults, I ask them, it's almost as if, the doctor hits that tendon and the reflex. My kids. I'm so grateful for my kids. Now, it depends. Thank you. It depends on your kids maybe sometimes, right? But I want you to think of the entire landscape of your life. The entire landscape. There are parents, some of them recently coming back from war zones with just a little piece of shrapnel in their spinal column, and they can't embrace their child. They can't hold their child, right? Right? They can't get on the ground and wrestle. My old man used to put his 5 o'clock shadow over here and tickle me like crazy. I still have very vivid memories of that, the joy, the laughter of that. But some fathers can't. Some mothers can't. Right? What if you never had the sight and you had to know your child's face through your fingertips? Right? We take so much of our life for granted. So I want you to think of all of that, right? Where you were born, the education that was afforded to you, the, the, the parent support, the family support, the network of people that help bring you to this moment here, right now. So thinking of the entire landscape, your health, your wellness, the opportunities for education, um, think of all of that, and then turn to your partner and then share with them the thing that you're most grateful for today. It's tough to pull you back from that question, right? When you're in that space, it's kind of an impossible question to answer, right? If you begin to really pause and look at all the blessings, it's hard to single out just one thing. And of course, you could always come back to it could in fact be your kids, but I just wanted to make sure that you took in the full breath of this experience called being alive right now, this time and age. Um, when you focused, the question focused your attention on that emotion of gratitude and what became your physical experience based on the question that you asked. What did you experience? What were you full of? As you scan around, you go, oh, that's a great one. That's a good choice. But hang on, let me think. That's another good choice. Oh, that's another good choice. That's another good choice, right? How do you feel?
Grateful.
You feel grateful. What a what a, what a simple equation. Questions get us to focus on a particular thing, right? And you can ask a question of several different ways. Why does this always happen to me? Right? And you'll get ask and you shall receive. You'll always get an answer. Because you were born on the wrong side of the tracks, because you're too tall, because whatever, right? It'll answer. Ask and you shall receive. So we need to begin to ask better questions of ourselves so that we can put our focus on the blessings that we have and not the lack. That's it. We have both in our life, right? Right. And so the quality of your life is the quality of your emotional state moment to moment, right? So the accumulation of that is the quality of your life. And so we can manage that emotional state by just putting the focus, right, like a spotlight on a particular area, and it can see that but nothing else around it. Doesn't mean that those negative things aren't in our life. We still have difficulties and suffering and illness and tragedies, right? But that's not all of our life. Right? And if we only focus on that, that becomes our experience of life. So we need to be able to become masters at controlling our focus. And one way to do that is through the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. What's great about this? What's wonderful about this? My wife her birthday was on Tuesday, and she had bought a Tesla just under a year ago, and someone backed into her Tesla on her birthday, right? Big crocodile tears with me on the phone, right? I've learned to be a better listener, not always offer solutions. I had to make an adjustment there because I went to solution, right? But and I said, well, is anybody hurt? Right? No one's hurt. Right? It's just cosmetic, right? Trying to help her focus on it's only cosmetic, it's blessing. In that moment, it didn't work for her because she needed to have the process of crocodile. Today, she's cool, right? But at the moment, she was a bit stuck in that thing, and she wasn't quite ready for my nudging out of that. So sometimes you have to just be with that person in that place, and then meet her where she's at, exactly right. And then, I said, well, then I came home. I looked, and really what happened was the bumper flexed, and the reflector that was in the bumper popped out. So I went to Tesla, $168 to replace that. So for me, not a materialistic guy, wasn't worth a tear at all, right? but but now she can see the blessing in it. So sometimes it takes a little bit while. But why not build a conditioning in ourselves to always put our attention? Yes, some of these negative things need attention, but let my experience of this one spin on this beautiful planet of that we've been blessed with be one full of joy and gratitude. And I believe when you're resonating at that vibration, more of the good will flow into your life as well. So as we drift off into sleep, there's plenty of brain science that shows how we shift gears from a conscious waking state down into a deep restful state. And whatever's kind of dominant in your consciousness shows you will be marinating in all night. So what's most people's rituals? Honey, let's go to bed. Oh my gosh, it's almost, 11 o'clock. We get under the covers. Well, let's just watch the 11 o'clock news. Death, mayhem, corruption, war, suffering. All right, good night. And then and we marinate in that all night. So your ritual, my friend, is the way to go. Shut the news off. You know, that ritual at night, shut the news off, because the news is no longer a tool to inform us. It's to enrage us and engage us. That's what news is today, right? It's a profit center, and they just want our eyeballs. They don't really need to give us what we need to make important decisions. So shut it off. Ask those questions. Marinate in gratitude each night. And I promise you, in 20 days of this ritual, your experience of life will change. You will wake up in a place, a more blissful place. The problems, the stones in our shoes will be less uncomfortable, and you'll move through life. And as you move through life with more gratitude, you smile a little bit more, which apparently adds to a longer life, I learned today, right? And you ignite that in other people. Right? So the ripple effect of that ritual, there is no bounds to that. Most of us, we are hardwired for survival. I mean, at a primordial level, our job is to live another day and to breed this species. That's really the fundamental running of this organism, is to be able to propagate the species. We got to get to tomorrow to be able to do that. So our brains are hyper focused on threat, and so typically people don't need any coaching to look for the brown difficult challenges in life. And my I don't know, offering to you is, because I know you to be a mission driven man. You have big challenging hairy problems to tackle. What's the emotional element that you need to bring the best of yourself to those challenges? My suggestion, my hypothesis is a joyful, fulfilled Lyndon will be much more effective than a stressed, concerned, and weighted version of you. We're all leaders in different aspects of our life. There's times when we have to be that bold leader and charge forward and rally the troops behind us, and there's other times we just, like other team members, just got to lean in, throw our shoulder to the wheel, and take on the tasks that at times are very significant. Right? On a round planet, I don't really think we can choose sides. Right? So collectively, we need to work together. So be bold, high integrity leaders in your businesses. Be compassionate leaders in your communities. Be loving leaders. In your family.